motion, if I can get this right. Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda consisting of the purchasing and accounting report, human resources department report, minutes for the board business meeting April 5th, 2016, minutes for the special board meeting April 18th, 2016, minutes for the special board meeting April 19th, 2016, minutes for the special board meeting April 21st, 2016. We've been meeting a lot. Minutes for the special board meeting April 25th, 2016, and the 2016-17 overnight and extended trips or activities, and the SLE contract.
And on the next page,
On the next page, we have board policies.
And also the board policies, which consist of G11 workplace safety, G21 youth suicide prevention programs, I2 graduation requirements, I6 school year and school calendar, P8 acceptable use of internet, computers, and network resources, and P9 employee background checks and self-reporting.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
yeah, so I made a request earlier to move the HR report to discussion.
Our policy is that it needs to come 24 hours in advance. That's what our board policy says. Did you have a question about that particular human resources report that we can answer?
Well, but I only got a response from the superintendent today, and I wanted to talk about the fact that he's hiring people to new positions without board approval. And they're not showing up on the HR report. And so if I just found out today.
The consent agenda is on, the HR report's on the consent agenda. So is there anything on this consent agenda HR report that you wish to question?
Yeah, I just did. I mean, what I'm saying is that I didn't respond 24 hours before because the superintendent's telling us through confidential emails that he's hiring people for positions, and I'm questioning, whether they're.
That's a bigger discussion, Michael, and a bigger question.
Can I finish without
Yes.
being interrupted?
Yes,
please?
you can.
I thought we were gonna.
No, I'm sorry.
Stability would call for that. So before I was interrupted, what I'm saying is that, you're holding me to this 24-hour timeline, then he should be telling us, who he's hiring in these positions prior to that, because you can't hold me to the 24-hour timeline of wanting to move that if he's only telling us things, outside of that window.
So, yes, go ahead, Tiffany.
I would just like to say that the hire that you're discussing is not on this HR report
That's my point.
because it isn't official yet, so we'll go on next month's HR report.
Okay.
But it is official in that the announcement gets made, the person gets told they have the job. And what I'm saying is before those steps happen, the board should have an opportunity to approve it.
Catherine.
I guess I second what Tiffany is saying, that is not relevant to this particular consent agenda.
That's my point.
Okay.
All right. Any other thoughts on that question? Because I think we're voting on this particular consent agenda and these specific
people.
2 new hires, 4 contract changes, and 1 release. That's what we're voting on.
Right, but my point is that he's offering, that people are getting hired in positions that don't have board approval, and we should have that as board approval before they're offered those jobs.
I think that this discussion is very premature and that Michael has not received any of the information that he has requested concerning this hiring. And until he has that information and can make a more educated complaint, I don't think that this is pertinent to this particular consent
I would
agenda.
say
Let me say, Tiffany, I can speak for myself, and I don't appreciate you telling me what I'm educated and not educated about. I have enough information to represent the community that elected me, and that's what I'm doing. And so I don't know where you're coming from trying to think for me and tell me what I have and don't have. And so that's why I had asked for this to be put on the discussion agenda.
I'm
So
going to
good
ask
discussion.
that we return to the motion on the agenda and on the table, Michael. And your discussion is not actually to this motion. That's my ruling. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as outlined, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And I'm opposed, and I disagree that, you know, that this should have been moved to the action agenda. If we're gonna do that, then the superintendent needs to tell us these kinds of things 24 hours prior.
We're going to go back to the agenda, Mr. Clara. Thank you
No,
very much.
but you're not gonna acknowledge what I'm saying? You know, I'm just
I've
gonna,
acknowledged it
say
and
that
I'm
you're
glad
not
you
gonna,
say it.
you know, if you guys are gonna play these stupid games, I'm not gonna, you know, submit myself and subject myself to it, because you're just playing games that he's over here hiring people that without
Going-
board approval, and then when I try to question it within
Please return to
parliamentary
the agenda.
procedures. Right, and then you see, so, and, you know, the public sees this for what it is, you guys are just playing games. And there's no reason for me to sit here and entertain you guys on this. Because then you don't leave any room to discuss things and to provide the checks and balances that this form of government calls
All
for.
right, I'm calling for order now. We voted on the consent agenda. Now we'll return
No, if we're not gonna
to the regular agenda. And it begins with